Greetings everyone, welcome to my Lisa guide tutorial. I'm Force of Nature representing top tier tips, and I welcome you to your prime spot for tips and tricks to help you level up at Dead or Alive 5. Alright, in this session we're going to be taking a look at Lisa, also known by her stage and ring name, La Mariposa, which means the butterfly. So yeah, I mean, just look at Lisa, it's a nice little butterfly there. Anyways, let me just give you a little bit of a background on her. Alright, let's see, what to know about Lisa. So she's a luchadora, or well, she's a kind of a luchador wrestler by day, and she's a DOA scientist researcher by night. So what that basically means is that she's got multiple personas. I mean, those are just basically her two primary personas. Who knows, in later DOA games, you might even gain more personas, but yeah, just to let you know that Lisa is a multi-character type person, so yeah. Regards to her playstyle, Lisa's a grappler. I mean, being that she is a wrestler, she is very good at grabbing things. But in general, her gameplay is that of a grappler with great mobility, spacing ability, zoning, and keep out. So what that means is that Lisa's good at basically keeping people away and controlling space. Because generally, what you want to do with Lisa is like use her different kind of like movement options to be able to create space and to make it hard for the opponent to be able to just like to get in on you and to get into their comfort zone or to get into a range that is uncomfortable for Lisa. So what you want to do is obviously try and keep Lisa at a comfortable range as much as you can. So I mean generally Lisa's great at fighting people at like range or just generally like transversing the environments with her. What this is right here is when you see her kind of like dash forward, that's called her Carrera stance, which is basically just, for most people, it's just simply just running. For Lisa, it is running, but it does lead to like giving her different kind of techniques and whatnot. So the big thing with Lisa is essentially getting the opponent to respect their space, because with a lot of matches, your primary objective with Lisa is basically just simply keeping the opponent out as much as you can, and until you are able to run an offense on them. Then when you do end up running an offense on them, then you can end up starting to implement her more close range tools. Alright, since I feel that Lisa mostly thrives at mid-range, let's just go over some tools, pokes that we can right now. However, before I do move on to that, I do want to throw out a little disclaimer that if I say anything or show anything in this guide tutorial that you're unfamiliar with or are unsure of, be sure to take a look at my other sort of character guides and advanced guides and whatnot to see if you can find an answer to your query. Alright, so continuing on with mid-range game, just going to show you some pokes. Right now, with Lisa, the primary poke I do recommend is her 3K, or more specifically 3K4. Alright, this can apply to Lisa, but can apply to almost any character. When you are learning a character, I recommend looking at the command training and combo challenges with them. For Lisa, the main reason to look at the command training is just to kind of get familiar with her moveset. She has like around like about 117 moves, I think. But for if you're just training right now, this is free training in the lab, then what you could do is turn on this move list right here from the fight info, and it shows all their moves. Alright, the move I'm showing right now is her 3K. If you look at the top there with the 3K or down forward K, if you press back, also known as 4, she goes in the back turn. With Lisa, I'm going to actually recommend this a fair bit for a lot of moves, because what pokes like 3K or 236K or other moves that end up going into back turn, what it does is it actually makes the move safer on block. Like right here, I got right on the move details. If you end up doing something like 3K, right here, if you end up doing 3k4, it's -3 on block. If you just do it in empty without pressing back, that takes you into back turn. Leaves her at -8, which is considered throw punishable in Dead or Alive 5 last round. Meaning any character with a 7-frame throw or faster, which can reach, will be able to throw punish that on block. But if you end up going into back turn on block, it's only -3, so it makes you safe, completely safe from punishment. Since -3, you can't punish that at all. Another reason also why I like dashing or leading into her back turn stance, besides the fact that she gains like more options from that, it allows you to be able to dash away with a 4-4, which is actually pretty cool. Alright, but continuing on with like mid-range, like this right here is, as you can probably guess, is probably my favorite poke. Like 3k, I mean, let's see, let's just take a look at it right now. So if you go into back turn, it's a 15-frame mid-kick. If it ends up hitting the opponent, it does 22 damage. On normal hit, you get +7. On block, as you at 15 frames for Lisa, that's actually pretty decent because her close range pokes actually are actually kind of slow. I'll go over those like a little later, but I'll just focus around this range a bit more now. Alright, in mid-range, other pokes I recommend along with 3k would be her 236k, or specifically here 236k4. This is her critical burst attack. Just like 3k, it has two forms. This is just normal 236k. I'll show you on block. This one's -8, but if you go into back turn, right here you see it's -3. If you could do it from further away, like tip range, you manipulate the frames a bit and then it becomes -2. So this right here is actually a pretty cool move from mid-range. As you see, if you transition to back turn, there's only 20 frames of recovery here, which is really good for a 20-frame move. So if you don't go into back turn, you see right here, you have 25 frames of recovery. So with here, going into back turn by holding 4, you have less recovery. So there's basically, even if you end up like whiffing the move, you have more time to react. Obviously, generally, I don't recommend like whiffing slower moves in general, but this move in particular actually does have. This move in particular does have a pretty good, really good recovery. And hell, one thing I like about also going in the back turn is this is another actually really cool move you can do with Lisa, is her back turn booty bump. Like this move right here is actually this move here is actually really good. Here, let me just show you some more details now. I mean, watch this. So if you end up hitting or checking out this move, oops, wrong one. All right, right here. So it's a 12-frame. Well, it's a mid attack. It can be, well, it's considered a mid punch and mid kick in one, but it actually cannot be held. The opponent will just perform a special sidestep if they perform a hold on it or a mid hold on it. But this move, as you can see here, covers a lot of range. Look at that. It's about, what is that, like 2 meters I just see right here, 201. So that move covers really good range. It's only -3 on block. Well, -2 if you do it from like further away. And if it hits the opponent, right here it does about 18 damage. You get a +23 stun. And even then, from back turn, you have a good launcher too with your back turn 4P. Well, counter hit back turn 4P gives you a free air throw inputted by just pressing T when you launch. So yeah, as you can guess, this is like my favorite back turn option. It's just throwing a little booty around. Okay, so we got 3K4, 236K4, and if you're back turn, you can use you can just check out that ass, because Lisa has a really nice booty, and it's not just for show in this game. It actually is a legitimately good tool. So basically, this move, if it hits on block, and of course if it connects, I mean it's quite good, because I like using these moves with Lisa that are just like completely safe on block. Other moves you can also use for mid-range is her 6PK, or or for what I usually like to do, is Lisa 6BK4. The first one's her 14 frame elbow, but the second hit is the mid kick, which is just exactly like 3K. So anything that's like 3K can go into, has the ability to transition into back turn, making it safe on block at a maximum of -3. So this one though, I mean, yeah, her mid kick 3K is 15 frames, so her elbow is 14 frames. So if you end up doing this, cover a bit more range. If I'm not mistaken, let me see, her 3K might track. Oh no, it doesn't. Only her 236K tracks. So yeah, that's another poke you can use. I also like her 1P, or more specifically 1P string. A lot of times I usually just poke out with just 1PK. This is a mid punch into a high. She technically has an option to go mid-mid with 1PP, but that is, I think, a bit unsafe on block, and it leaves her back turn. This one, be careful, it does go mid-high, but the second hit, both moves, I think, track, so you can use that to catch people that are, you can catch people that try and sidestep on you, because generally speaking, Lisa doesn't have much trouble dealing with sidestepping. I mean, with her good range, with those nice, long, succulent legs, I mean, it's kind of hard to step her too easily. And another move I also like using for mid-range, or just if you want to like create like a little space for control and space, is use her 7K. This move transitions into her Carrera stance, which is usually just abbreviated to CAR, or CAR. The way I transition into Carrera is by just pressing forward off a move that allows it. Like here, if I were to show you the fight details right here, anything that can transition into Carrera, or usually can transition to Carrera, will be signified by a black arrow. Here, if you look at for me, that big back or up back K I'm doing right now, you see how it has an arrow? The black arrow will light up every time I transition into Carrera. Alright, from Carrera stance, you actually have some actually pretty cool options. Alright, my favorite option usually to do from Carrera is her 6K. I'll just let you know right now, her Carrera stance is just like a run-in stance. So any moves that you do from Carrera is the same as just running at your opponent. So what Carrera is just a fast way for Lisa to transition to Carrera. The thing about her Carrera stance is that's how Lisa can gain momentum. Yeah, so there's a bunch of options here. The most common option you're going to use is also, in my opinion, is Lisa's, one of her more common get-in attacks, is her 6K. Well, I'll just call it 6K or Carrera K. This move, if you hit, it allows you, well, even if you connected or on hit or block, you can transition again into Carrera, allowing you to try and keep up the mix-up. If you just throw it out, you're -6 on block. If you transition to Carrera, you're +6, so it's you get frame advantage every time you go into it. But of course, if you keep doing this, the opponents will eventually say, "What the hell are you doing?" and just eventually hold mid kick. So in that case, you can mix them up with offensive hold. You have a high punch too. You also have a mid punch, but I really don't recommend that, because you see right there, this big ass move I just did here is a -18 on block move. Don't let the guard break fool you. Lisa has a ridiculous amount of recovery. You can see there at 44 frames. So yeah, I'll show you right now. Only use that as a whiff punishment whiff punishment move. But yeah, but if for get-in, you're generally going to be using that. Although with Lisa, generally what I'm recommend is to usually to try and keep out on your opponent. But if you do, when you want to get in and try and run some sort of pressure, then yes, I heavily recommend using that move to get it started. But that is if you're getting in. And for me, I'm more of like a poke in, keep out kind of guy, so I actually really like 7K. If you do want to create space with Lisa, aside from using 7K, which has the ability to go into Carrera, you can also use 4H plus K. releases Gosei, also known as just her cartwheel or her helicopter-like move. This move right here is actually pretty cool. It's a 12 frame mid kick that does I think around like 40 damage. If the opponent does block it, then you're actually a lot of negative frames, like about minus 26 or something. However, an interesting thing about this move on block is that it's safe from throw punishment, meaning that an opponent won't be able to throw you after this move. The only way how they can try and throw you is that they're gonna have to do like a dash up 6T or something. So basically, if the opponent are punishing this move, they basically need to be looking for it or have just really fast reactions, or they're essentially expecting you. But if you end up using it as like some sort of like interrupt or anything, then this move is good for kind of keeping people at bay. Because I'll say it right now, one of Lisa's biggest weaknesses is that she's slow as hell. I mean, she's just she's a big girl, so I mean like speed is not her friend. So that's why control in space is really important with you. Because one way how an opponent deals with Lisa is just by forcing her to have to deal with their speed. Because most opponents on the roster are considerably faster than Lisa. So if Lisa has to end up having to deal with other people's speed, then that's when she can run into trouble. So that's why control in space is important. This move is basically her get the hell off me move. I mean, with this move in play, as a 12 frame mid that gets quite a bit of priority over other 12 frame mids due to damage, any character that lacks an 11 frame mid basically has to be mindful of this move. Like slow characters basically you have to respect it. So whenever you get a chance, be sure to use this move. However, if the opponent, of course, is respecting it like they're supposed to and they block it, you can be open for punishment if they are mindful and know how to punish it. Ayane, for instance, can punish it with their 236K, which is her big drill kick move. So yeah, so just keep that stuff in mind. Alright, for Lisa, I'll say right now that I'm not really a huge fan of her low game, but generally what your go-to low poke is probably going to be 1K. Right here, I think it's like a little slow. It's like a 21 frame low kick with follow-ups. So with this move, it's also an instant high crush. So if you predict a high, if you end up predicting a high, you could just sweep the leg. But of course, most people usually expect the second low, so sometimes it's best to just go for the mid kick. So I mean, that's basically where the mix-up is. But overall, this isn't with Lisa. You can't really play a chuck out low game. I mean, like her lows are basically just to like check the opponent, just to make sure that they're like paying attention or whatnot. But if you do get an opportunity and the opponent's being incredibly overly defensive, you can try and shake him up with lows. He also even has her little low drop kick, which is a guard break too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, but lows also isn't one of Lisa's strengths. All right, I'll just show you a couple go-to high crushes. With generally the high crushes you're going to be using is the aforementioned 1K string or her 1P. So this is your low crushing or your high crushing low, and this is your high crushing mid punch, which of course has strings. Generally, I just do the first two hits, and when opponents are to see you doing just that, you can try and sneak in the third mid kick. Careful that a lot of the latter hits are holdable on reaction, so you do have to mix it up. I think this is delayable too. Yes, it is. As you see, if you extend the threshold, that last hit could launch. So yeah, 1PK or 1P and 1K will get a lot of usage with Lisa. For with punishment, I actually generally recommend 236K4. The reason why I like these kind of moves is because of the fact of how if you hit on stun, you can sneak in a little booty bump right there. And 4P is a good launcher. You can also use her back turn 7K as a launcher. if you want to mix up your 4P. But yeah, for whiff punishment, 236K is your safe option, and if you need something a little faster, there's also 236P, which is just like your Carrera P plus K. Remember, this move is minus 18 on block, so only use it as whiff punishment. If someone like whiffs something with a bit more recovery, go for 236K4. And this is another thing also to keep in mind with Lisa for when you're playing at like mid-range, long-range, or well, generally most ranges anyway, is use 7P to create space. Remember, forward puts you into Carrera stance, but generally with Lisa you want to get away, and this creates quite a lot of distance. Like I could show you like right here. Or Lisa's like around 1 meter. You back up, look at that. She jumps more over 2 meters just from that. So look, that's a lot of space right there. It's almost 2.2 meters from just that. All right, for go-to force text with Lisa, what I generally recommend is using her P plus K. So right here, it's a force tech, gives you about plus 16. Other force techs I recommend is 6H plus K and just 1K. Remember, 1K you could do it twice if they lie down extra long, but generally 1 is usually enough. See, it's a built-in 2-in-1. So any of those options are fine. The main reason why I like P plus K and 6H plus K as force techs is because even if they get blocked, P plus K is a plus 5 guard break and 6H plus K is a plus 2. Well, both these moves are 28 frames and 1K is 7 frames faster, but as you can see, it's not a guard break of any sort. So you can also like use this for pressure too. Because due to Lisa's slow-ass speed, yes, you do need to get whatever frame advantage you can. Even her jab gets a little frame advantage. Alright, anyways, I'm going to be going on to Lisa's long-range game right now. Alright, basically any of the tools I really said for mid-range, you could still for kind of like... Especially once I go into like back turn for spacing purposes. But for long range in particular, another attack you can use is her, well, it's her 1H plus K. This one's a plus 1 guard break, and I think it's like a lot of advantage if you charge it all the way. Oh yeah, plus 19. Not sure if you can get anything off it, but yeah, I don't think you can get anything off it, but you do get plus 19 if you charge it all the way, and it's plus 1 in general, so it is a positive guard break. But the main thing I like about this move is the ability to cancel by pressing forward, which leads into her Carrera. So what basically I recommend with this move is you can use, it's basically like a bait move. It can lead to shenanigans, and of course once the opponent hesitates and are afraid to whiff anything in front of Lisa, then you can start to use it as a guard, as like an attack when the opponent is close enough. But yeah, this is kind of like a shenanigan move. Like I generally like any kind of move that can easily transition into Carrera, because it complements her kind of a movement game. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, to keep in mind with Lisa, your main objective is to make it hard for the opponent to get in on you. Because generally, if you're playing Lisa, you're generally going to want to play a keep out style game majority of the time. And of course, just like from any other range, like mid range or whatever, if you need to create space, do a 7P. The general rule of thumb in Dead or Alive 5, last round, or pretty much any sort of like DOA or fighting game, if you have the life lead, you're never obligated to get in on your opponent. So just run that clock down. To augment your movement, another thing you can do is Lisa's 8P automatically puts her in back turn stance. So what you can do is press 4-4 and you get like a pseudo kind of backdash. It looks cool. It looks like she's swagging here. Just for kicks, if Lisa actually free steps, if she presses up or down to do the free step, she actually changes stance. Hell, just standing around, she changes stance automatically too, which is actually kind of cool. Another thing you want to keep in mind, like right there, you see she automatically switches them foot position, which actually does affect the properties of some moves based on positioning. All right, so now I'm just gonna go on to her close range game. I'm not going to put as much emphasis on this as with other characters, because with Lisa, I'll say, quite frankly, her close range game kind of sucks, and I'd say right now, try and stay out of close range as much as you can. So essentially your objective is to try and find ways out, like to get your opponent off you, to interrupt something. That's generally what you want to do. But I'll just give you the little rundown right now. Lisa's packing a 11 frame jab, 14 frame mid punch or mid kick or 6P or 6K, and a 16 frame 2P. I'll say her 2P is pretty freaking awful. I mean, look at that. It's 16 frames and it's only neutral on hit. It's not even +1 or +2 or anything. So so this is also part of the reason why her low game is not anything special, is because even her 2P is crap. So you just need to be careful about that. I mean, she has her 14 frame being her fastest kind of mid poke isn't really very pretty. Also, she does have her 12 frame mid kick DP like move, but this is entirely like a get off me move, so you can't just chuck this shit out. I mean, yeah, if someone's mashing at disadvantage, you can go right ahead, but under most circumstances, someone paying attention will punish you for that. If you might have noticed earlier, Lisa does have a +1 unblocked jab, which is kind of handy. She's still kind of slow, but what this means is her jab becomes 10 frames, her elbow or knee or whatever becomes 13 frames, and her 2P becomes, well, 15 frames. But yeah, it is nice to know, because not really that many characters get +1 unblocked jabs. Also, her jab does 11 damage, meaning it will out-prioritize other 10 frame jabs if they connect on the same frame. So if, let's say for instance you're at +1 and someone tries to jab you back, your jab will beat out a 10 frame jab. 9 frame jabs will be a hell to deal with also, but I mean, the +1 is generally not enough to deal with a 9 frame jab. If you are in close, even though I probably consider this a bit of a shenanigan, I generally like any move that leads into her 3K. So another move that includes that is her 2KK, which also can press back or 4, and it transitions into her back turn. This move, I'm pretty sure, well, because of the properties, it should be safe on block. There we go. If you go back turn, you get the same -3, so you can kind of shake someone up with 2Ks. As you see here, I can do 2KP. This is 2KPK. This right here is just a little safe string. You can chuck it on someone's block. So what you're doing is you're just shaking them up with the 2K, then you're ending with the safe mid kick. I mean, you can mix that up with 3K4, which is kind of cool. A thing I really like about 3K is that it's actually besides all the awesome stuff that comes with being a good 15 frame mid kick, it also crushes lows. So this is actually Lisa's primary low crush. As for other low crushes along with this, there's also like your 9K, 6H+K, so yeah, I mean, hell, even 2H+K, but generally for low crushes, I like 3K. 9K is actually really cool on counter hit, because it's a sit-down stun that allows you to get off a 4P if you hit on counter hit. Be careful, 9K is really slow, so you do have to be a bit careful with that. So yeah, that is, so 9K is a neat little low crush. But yeah, in close though, you generally just want to try and find ways to... You generally want to find ways to get away. You also can use your 6P also in close. Because remember, just like I showed at range, you have the mid kick follow up with 6KP or 6PK4. And the moves you're probably going to be using the often, aside from trying to interrupt, is you're generally going to use 1P quite a lot to try and see if you can find a high to interrupt. But of course, with Lisa in close, you really get to make use of her guard button quite a lot until you're able to make any sort of space. I'm also, like I said earlier, that Lisa doesn't have to worry too much when it comes to tracking. So aside from anything I kind of like showed you earlier, 6P is also a decent tracking move. It's got a couple follow-ups. Like if someone's not really paying attention, you can kind of shake them up with lows, or if you're really conditioned them to not want to get hit by the second hit, which as you see can cause a limbo stun or a gut stun depending on stance. So yeah, but for tracking in general, you don't have to worry too much. Alright, now I'm just going to go on to Lisa's throw game. Alright. First thing you must know, which I alluded to earlier, Lisa's a grappler, so she gets grappler class throws. Right here, her neutral throw is 4 frames for 50 damage, and her forward throw is 6 frames for 56 damage. This means that she can punish -7 moves with a guaranteed 6T. Only 3 other characters with properties like that, Tina, Bass, and Hayabusa, can also have 4 and 6 frame throws. She also has a 64 damage throw, which is 8 frames, so her throws get better speed than most characters, which I find is a very underrated ability, in the sense that I find that a lot of people don't really take advantage of the fact of how good it is to have a 4 frame throw and a 6 frame throw. I mean, being able to punish -7 is really handy, so yeah, I mean, get used to punishing with this move. It's not as nasty as Bass's 60, which gives some resets, but having a 6 frame throw is really good. But with the whole amount of throws that Lisa does have, the go-to throw is essentially going to be her Deja Vu throw right here. It's a 3-part combo throw, which is unbreakable. If you're able to get all 3 parts, like right there, you get a full 76 damage, which is actually cool. Even if you just get the first 2 parts, it's still cool enough, but being able to get down the whole throw is actually pretty cool for 76 damage. Another throw which you also can try is her quarter circle back throw. It's a combo throw that is breakable, but as you see right there, it gives you like a third of the health bar. And I think that, yeah, 105 damage if you get in the entirety. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. If you, for straight up damage, aside from the Deja Vu, I don't mind the 4T because you get a 64 damage for 8 frames, which is highly respectable. It gives you a lot of space, which Lisa you generally want, and it switches sides. Like, look how far away it chucks the opponent away. So this is an okay throw too. Although, of course, the big thing to know with Lisa is her offensive holds are also really good. Yeah, I'll just actually go over. She technically has a couple frame advantage throws, but I don't really recommend them that much, because really, when you got the sexiness that is Deja Vu, you don't really need these. But it's nice to have it's nice to have the option to have it. Like, this is her forward back throw. Right there, you get a little combo. It does 80 damage, but it actually sadly is. I think the setups are staggerable. This is her 4-4T throw. Right here, you just do 6 PK, 4 PK, then you can just press throw from in midair, and she gets her air throw. That does around 81 damage. So you can mess around with the back throw and her 6-4T throw, and try and just mess around with that. I'll just let you know the booty bump is guaranteed, but the other stuff on there can be staggerable. But yeah, now going on to her catch throw game, or in DOA they call them offensive holds. I'll just right now that Lisa has some great ones. The one that will probably get quite a bit of uses is your forward offensive hold. I'll just let you know right now, Lisa has a lot of these things. They should be they should be listed in our move list. If I threw an offensive hold, if you look on the move listing, you see an OH. That means offensive hold. This right here is just her 16 frame one, her 6/6T, does about 40 damage, so you could do this from like slight negative, like -5, or even from slight advantage, so either -5 up to like +5. You do this, you'll beat out most retaliations. So that's basically another one. She has a offensive hold from her Carrera stance. This one, instead of doing 6/6K all the time, occasionally use this. If you want to catch an opponent off guard that's in defensive mode, use her 8T. I mean, 6/6T is unreactable, but 8T can definitely catch people from time to time. Because a lot of people try to instant because crouching takes 4 frames, so technically you're supposed to fuzzy under it. But yeah, and obviously other offensive holds, yeah, she's got a bunch of jumping. Like, she probably has the most jumping ones. Like, apart from her 8T, there's her back turn 8T. She's got them off of like strings. So I mean, that's actually pretty cool. She even has a fancy one from back turn, forward throw. This one is another one that can catch some people off guard too. Because the big thing about offensive holds is that their primary objective is to beat out slower attacks. So this is offensive holds is used to compensate for her speed. So feel free to go nuts with them if the opponent is kind of unsure of what you're doing and you're conditioning them well. Then you can start to catch them with these. Like if you're conditioning them with other moves. Oh yes, and she has a throw from back turn too, called Ivy Trap. Just grabs the leg. Unfortunately, despite having a back turn stance, she doesn't have a crouch throw. So this is a stand-in throw. Does okay damage and is reasonably fast, but it's always nice to have throws from back turn. Like I don't know why she doesn't have a crouching throw, because Ione has a really good back turn crouching throw that does a crap load of damage on high counter. So yeah, but for Lisa, that's all you get. And of course you have your back turn offensive hold, but you can't really just use it to catch people off guard that easily. But yeah, it is what it is. And also lastly, I'll just show that she actually has a crouching offensive hold. Has 2 parts. This is just the basic one, but if you're able to get down the second part, then you're able to try and get fallouts off it, even though it's actually, well, that's from behind. It's actually pretty tricky to do. Oh man, come on. I'll see if I can try and get it off right now. Oh. Alright, that's the combo that you will use, but the timing for it is really weird. So basically, after the launcher part, you do 6B or 6B 8K, but you have to delay the second part. Then you do 4PK, then you just press the throw button. Alright, just to go on a little bit about Lisa's holds. I'll just say right now that none of her holds are really remarkable or anything like that. They're pretty straightforward, but the main thing to note about them is that they all do pretty good damage at 58 on normal hit. We're on high counter. You get 87 damage, which is quite respectable. Like that's above average for hold damage, so that is pretty nice to know. Because obviously with Lisa, in close range, for instance, you're gonna have to be really patient with her. So while you're doing your darting, you're looking for predictable patterns in your opponent, and then when he sees something you recognize, catch him off with a hold. So make him respect your hold damage. She doesn't get the lucrative hold damage that like a Lei Fang would get, or a Hayabusa, but her hold damage is still really potent. Alright, now just to go on to Lisa's, just to go with her at a wall, I'll say right now that really Lisa's not really that much of a wall monster. You can wall slam with like 66k or like a counter hit 3k, which is only like this. But really, if you do get a wall slam, just use 6 pp is usually gives you okay damage. 6 ppp. You can also use H plus K, which I think is like 18 frames for a wall slam, and I think it wall slams also on normal hit. But in general, you're not really going to be doing too much at the wall with Lisa, because generally what you want to do is be trying to get away. And she could jump off the wall too, if I'm not mistaken. This may not work on this low wall. Honestly. Yeah, it only works on higher walls. Doesn't work on these low walls, but that is actually pretty cool though. All right, right now I'll just show a little juggle with Lisa. There's one. Alright, the one I recommend was the one I just did right here. After you do your critical burst, I use back turn 7p. Do 3p, 6p, 8k, then just air throw. And you could do another combo too if you want to knock the opponent away and look a bit more swag. Oh, I didn't mean to knock him into that. Alright, right there what you do is after the critical burst, 6p, 8k, 7k forward, then P plus k from Carrera. So this, then P plus k after entering Carrera stance. Alright, so that's basically it for now. Alright, so right now things to practice with Lisa is her basically zoning game, so making use of her tools like 3k, 236k, back turn 4p plus k, also known as the booty bump. So with Lisa, it's important to be good with your spacing, zone in, keep out, and Footsie's ability. And also remember her. She also can enter back turn with 8p for more mix-ups. Other stuff also to practice is also her Deja Vu throw. So remember to see that's only the first two parts, but if you can get down the full one, then that gets you really good damage. So that's another thing also that you can practice. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. So if you have any questions about anything that was discussed in here in this guide, then feel free to contact Force of Nature on freestepdodge.com. You can also contact me on my YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. Alright, also be sure to look at my other character guides to just get a nice little look at the other parts of the cast. Things are coming along quite nicely, and I'm almost going to take a look at almost everyone. If there's anyone that you would like to recommend to see in the future, just write it down in the comments down below, and I'll take a look at them so I can produce a guide for them in the future. And yeah, also just let me know how things are going and everything like that. Anyways, this is Force of Nature signing off. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Top Tier Tips.